kids from low income areas, teaching them that, hearing kids go, well, I want to be a rapper, I want to be a football player. It's like, do you realize the percentage of the kids or the people who actually make that? It's like less than 1%.
Yeah, but I
What?
mean, it's not what kids do. I mean, when we were kids, we all wanted to be astronauts and baseball players.
Right.
Like
But you
that's just
have you
kid.
have a lot of children that don't see any other representation of themselves. So you see a lot of African Americans who rap, play sports, play basketball.
I
This
gotta
is
tell you,
how
horticulture does not have a lot of African Americans.
exactly. Because I have been to events where I'm literally like, it is just me.
No, it is so
So
darn white.
that, yeah, it is.
It
And
is, no, and I mean, and I did a project. I worked at How Living History Farm in it's in Mercer County, and
oh,
yeah,
okay.
that was great fun. After I grad, anyway, my winding life. Um, and we did a project with How Living History Farm where we went down to Trenton and we were doing a community garden there, and this was in
Right,
a Black community,
right.
and I was talking to a bunch of the guys who were in the community, and they were like, we're not doing this. We did this long enough. We're not digging this damn garden. and
Right,
and
right.
I think I think there was such I think the agricultural history of Black
Yes,
Americans,
yes,
like,
exactly. And now it's time to teach a different narrative.
yeah,
And I think it's important that we teach our children, especially, our Black children. And I do like there's a video, if you look on my Instagram, I think it's my IGTV or it's on Bullock Gardens. It was right after the murder of George Floyd. And my social media staff was like, you really need to put something out. And I was like, I don't want to. Like right now, I
you
can't right
didn't
now.
know what you wanted to say that had
Right.
actual meaning.
Right. And so we put out something and then we did like these videos about like what's our why? Like our members of color in our board because we have a very diverse board. And so I put mine out. But what I did, I just sitting on the ground, had my phone, and I started talking. And in here, I started crying. And but I'm talking about like the passion behind why I do what I do. So I've done all of that. I've set gardens up. I started a nonprofit. And then I hit that point where I knew I wanted to do this for my life. I knew that I wanted to continue to educate kids, but I needed to focus on the kids in my community. The kids, now I didn't grow up in a low income community. I grew up, I told you, my parents had their own.
Sensitive. Like, no.
I grew up like, there was no question. Like after high school, there's college. That was given. But for so many kids, like I remember Black kids who were shocked when I said, well, I had to go to college to be your teacher. And they were like, you went to college? I'm like, yes. And I remember this little boy had said, Black people don't go to college. I said, sweetheart, how do you think I got to be your teacher? You have to go to college for this. And he was like, you went to college? I'm like, yes. He's like, Black people go to college? I was like, yes. I contacted the admissions council at Morehouse University, which is an HBCU, and I connected him with their admissions person. They sent him a whole kit and they were like, we're sending you your welcome letter. And he's in third grade at the time. And they're like,
Just
we're going to be
just if
waiting
they
for you.
had this idea that Black people don't go to college.
Because in these communities, think about how, when we talk about systemic racism, that really is this horrible factor, this horrible outcome of systemic racism is when you see this downtrodden every single day. And the only way out, the only things that you see in front of you are rap, sports, these places where they have decided, where society have decided where Black people excel. That's your limit. That is your only goal.
And it's so
But
hard to imagine something beyond the limits that are shown to.
Right. So,
You
like,
see that with women as well. Yeah, you just
even having Barack Obama as president was
huge.
something that for the kids that I mean, they couldn't process that.
Yeah.
So, being in the agricultural world and talking with kids about reconnecting with the soil, and I've heard, the stories where, some of our yes, our people of color, some of my other people in the African American community have said, "Yeah, we don't do that." I'm like, "Why not? Why not?" They're like, "There was a big deal when Brie came to our school and planted cotton."
Mm.
And I had a couple
I
people
get
say,
it.
"How could you
Simple.
let her how could you let her do that?" And I
Mm.
was like, "Do you realize how important this is?" Like, kids need to see, all kids need to see this cotton plant. They need to know how sharp it is to harvest cotton.
How
They need-
awful it was.
But
Yeah.
but they also need to know that it's empowering to take that back.
Yeah.
And now you
It's
control this
reclaiming that.
part.
Yeah, it's reclaiming things.
Right. So
And I
like,
do get that like 50 years ago,
yeah,
ready. And
right.
maybe even 20, because when I was in that place in Trenton, that
Yeah.
was 22 years ago.
Right, yeah.
We
No
weren't
one was
ready.
ready for that. But
But
now we have this different thought, and now we're aware about what's in our food, and which is another reason that pushed me towards this.
thank you for listening. If you want to know more about Sonya, I encourage you to look at her website, bullockgardenproject.org, and also to follow her on various social media, including Instagram at New Jersey Garden Teacher. Also, she's going to have a garden at the Philadelphia Flower Show, which this year is in June 5th to June 13th in Philadelphia. So if you're in the region and have the opportunity to go touch base and see what she's doing there, I encourage you to do so. Thanks.